Welcome to the Doherty Water for Food podcast. Since 2010, the Doherty Water for Food Global Institute at the University of Nebraska has worked toward one goal, a food and water secure world. One in which global food security is ensured without compromising the use of water to meet other essential human and environmental needs. It's a daunting vision, but one that is vitally important. This podcast amplifies the voices of those making waves in this space. We hope you enjoy today's episode. Hello and welcome to today's episode where I'm joined by Qiao Hu, a Ph.D. student studying natural resource sciences at the University of Nebraska, Lincoln. Qiao is also supported by DWFI through funding from its student support program, which has invested more than $2.3 million to support undergraduate, graduate, and postdoctoral research across all 4 University of Nebraska campuses. These awards provide stipends to future scientific leaders working on projects that contribute to the Institute's mission to have a lasting impact on achieving more food security with less pressure on scarce water resources. We're also joined today by Qiao's faculty advisor and DWFI faculty fellow, Zhenghong Tang. Zhenghong is a professor in the Community and Regional Planning Program and Landscape Architecture Program at UNL, as well as a courtesy professor in the School of Natural Resources. So today we're going to dive into Qiao's research on using small unmanned aircraft systems, or UASs, also known as drones, to support precision conservation and sustainable agricultural practices in the rainwater basin of Nebraska. So first of all, Qiao, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to study this topic at the University of Nebraska?
Yeah, sure. My name is Qiao. I'm a Ph.D. student in Natural Resources of Nebraska Lincoln, University of Nebraska Lincoln. So, yeah, personally, I'm a people who is really interested in play with image data, right? Since image data is very intuitive, so it is easy to visualize and it is easy to interpret. So basically, from my view and from the academic view, it is how to extract meaningful information from the ecological image data. Well, from the audience's view, it's all about how to visualize the most important information and to help the general public to better understand the nature in the Nebraska or in our world. So that is for me. So I'm really interested in this domain, and that is the reason why I stay here to study this program.
Well, Qiao, why would you say that wetlands are so important to our ecosystem?
Well, from my understanding, it's all about the sustainability of our ecosystem and of our world. 3 points. From the perspective of the ecological view, it's about the clean water, since wetland is the water is the most important components in the wetland. To better preserve the wetland is better preserve the water to support the Clean Water Act. Also, the wetland can provide important habitats for wildlife. Also, the wetland have some other functionalities such as flood control. So generally, it is very important to both of our human and nature system. It's about the sustainability of our whole Earth ecosystem. Well, the second point is from the economic value. Wetland, to better preserve the wetland, to better protect the wetland, can better support the clean water. So then we can have some high quality natural products from the wetland resources, right? Those resources can be great resources to support some economic activities such as hunting and grazing. And with those, we can increase the income of the conservation organization so that they can have more flexibility to support the conservation effort. So that is about the sustainability of the conservation effort. And the third point is that about the social value of those wetlands. As we know, those wetlands have existed in Nebraska probably for hundreds, thousands, and even more years. Right? To better preserve those wetlands is better preserve the character of Nebraska, to better preserve the history of Nebraska, to ensure the integrity of the historical landscape of Nebraska. So that is about the social sustainability of protect those wetlands.
Well, in order to protect wetlands, of course, we have to have programs and policies in place, and researchers have to be able to tell what is a wetland and what's not. So in the past, how have researchers been able to map the wetlands that we have for policymakers in order to protect them?
Yeah, that is a very good question. The most fundamental way to map those wetlands is by field survey. It's kind of like you send some people, some human, to those wetlands and to go through every corner of each wetland and make manually records. So the disadvantage is obvious. It is very, very time consuming, right? And it is very expensive in terms of the money. Well, as we keep improving our technology, we are more likely to use remote sensing technology such as satellite and piloted aircraft to map those wetlands. Then we can using those remote sensing image to develop some index, for example, vegetation index, to select some specific band to detect different land cover, for example, water. So the biggest challenge over here is that those methods usually provide very low spatial resolution. So it's very hard to identify the individual level of the land cover, for example, wildlife or different vegetations in the wetland. So that is also some challenges we want to figure out in our program.
Well, so it sounds like it's been a pretty labor-intensive manual process then to map these wetlands, but how does your research allow them to do it differently?
Our project is differently from previous study by two ways. The first way is just what you have addressed is about using drones, right? By using drones, we can get very high spatial resolution of the wetland land cover. And also drones is very flexible. You can just go to anywhere you want, and as long as the weather is good, then you can just fly the UAV. So another advantage of UAV is that you can adjust the altitude, right? So by adjusting those altitude, you can get a different spatial resolution of the wetland. So generally, the UAV can damage less to the wetland since there is no physical contact with the natural resources, and it is more precise and it is more flexible. That is the first difference. We are using UAV. We get more high quality of data. And the second way we are different with the previous study is that we are using AI technology to automatically process those high quality of UAV data. So generally, the process is kind of like you select some good examples from the data set. For example, which data is water, which data is vegetation, and which data is wildlife. And then you send those labeled data into the AI models, and the model will automatically decode the relation between the data with those labels. So once those correlation was figured out by the AI models, then you can apply this model to a new data set to automatically detect the wildlife, detect the water, or some other land cover such as vegetation. So generally, this is going to enhance the accuracy, enhance the efficiency, and save a lot of time and money investment for the conservation effort.
Well, Zhenghong, let's bring you into the conversation. As a faculty member and Qiao's advisor, how do you see policymakers and land managers using this research, both in the short term and the long term?
Yes, in the short term, this project provided innovative information platform for conservation managers to collect the data more efficiently, more effectively, more accurately. In the long term, this project will build up the management capacity to achieve another level from the traditional land survey to advance the remote sensor-based survey to achieve the national goal for clean water, healthy ecosystem, and sustainable agriculture.
Well, so how are you partnering with other agencies to help with wetlands conservation, both for clean water and for a sustainable agriculture system?
This project is a collaborative project. We have very actively collaborated with multiple federal, state, and local partners, including the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Rainwater Basin Joint Venture, the Nebraska Game and Park Commission, the multiple natural resources conservation districts, and also the Natural Resources Conservation Service from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. So they were very supportive for this project, and they participate with multiple the field survey during the project time, and we really appreciate the support.
Well, Qiao, getting back to you again, as you've been doing this research, what would you say has been among the most interesting findings you've made?
There are many interesting findings. First, we find that UAV is definitely a very good resources for users to do the wetland conservation work, since the spatial resolution is really, really appealing. It's usually centimeter level resolution, which means you can identify a small bird in the wetland. This compared with traditional like satellite image. For example, the Landsat satellite usually have a 30-meter spatial resolution. So UAV is kind of like 300 times more precise than the satellite image. So that is the first finding about the UAV applications. It is very, very precise. Well, secondly, we are using different sensors, for example, thermal, multispectral, and traditional RGB sensors. And we found that thermal data is really, really useful data source to identify the water resources and to identify the wildlife, since wildlife usually have very high temperature compared with the water, right? So thermal is really useful to identify the difference between those land covers and objects. Third, we find that the AI technology is really is also a very useful framework to do the automatic wetland mapping. So by our experiments, we found that utilize AI models is compared with the traditional manually delineation is 20 times efficient. So that is a huge difference about the efficiency. Also, we found that the AI technology not only can help us to do the wetland mapping automatically, it is also help us to do the feature selection. For example, by using the multispectral data, we have the thermal, we have the traditional RGB, and red edge, and near infrared band. And we found that when we're trying to detect water, the model can automatically pay more attention on the blue band, on the thermal band, since those band is very sensitive to water. Right? So that is another interesting finding about the application of AI technology. Generally, by using UAV and by using AI technology, we can reduce the reliance of wetland mapping on the human expertise. We can make the whole process more efficient and more automatic. That is, I believe that is the trend of the future, and we are going to keep research on this and to see the difference.
So what's next for you, Qiao? What's your next step?
Personally, as I am a people who is really interested in the image data processing, so I'm going to keep exploring the image processing domain and figure out a new way to apply the AI technology to on the wetland conservation and environmental monitoring domain. Just incorporate the benefits of those new technology to contribute to the wetland and environmental conservation effort. Also, for this project, for the project we are doing right now, I hope we can, as long as we have long-term time series data, we can analyze the internal correlation between different components in wetland. For example, the water, vegetation, and wildlife. We are trying to see whether the change of one component will influence another components. And once we can decode the correlation between the different components, we can better understand the wetland ecosystem to support the future precision conservation.
Well, now I have a question for both of you. What would you say is the biggest challenge in keeping our wetland systems healthy? How do we attack that challenge? Zhenghong, why don't you answer that first?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I would say the challenges always come up with the potential opportunities. I think the public awareness on the value of the wetlands, particularly in the agriculture landscape, and also the role of the wetlands in the water ecosystem is a long-term challenge, or it's a long-term need for us to conduct more education, outreach, and engagement efforts to improve the public awareness and thus to achieve the national goal for clean water and the sustainable agriculture system.
Qiao, what would you say?
Yeah, from my perspective, I'm more likely from the technical perspective. Yeah, from my view, there are many available public accessible image resources available in many database. So for me, it's how to better exploit those image resources and combine the automation of AI technology would be definitely a perspective and approach to help for long-term cost-effective conservation.
Well, also, Qiao, I wanted to ask you, how has the Doherty Water for Food Global Institute helped you in your research? What role has the Institute played?
Yeah, so Water for Food Actually, I do have a water for food staff in my committee to serve my graduation program. So he offers suggestions to my project, for example, the experimental design and the topic selection and how to correlate my project to the clean water goals in water for food. So that is really a big help. Also, water for food usually hosts some seminars, right? Academic and communication seminars. So through those seminars, they help me to organize and present my research better, and also to facilitate the communication between different research groups. So it's better for me to learn from others and to find common goals among different research topics. So yeah, that is a very good experience to work with water for food.
Well, Qiao, it certainly sounds like your research is going to have some far-reaching implications, not just in Nebraska, but possibly all over the world. So that's all the specific questions I have for you. Anything else either one of you would like to add?
Yeah, I would say thank you for the Doherty Water for Food Global Institute to provide us the financial support, the guidance for the project. Also, I want to support the US EPA for the funding for this project as well. Both of the support are really timely and helpful for the research team to conduct the project to help and serve the states and the national need. Thank you.
Yeah, for me, by this interview, I really appreciate the support from EPA and from Water for Food to fulfill my small dream and offer me the chance and the platform to contribute to Nebraska, to the nature of our world. So also, I hope by this interview, there will be more students, colleagues, and scholars pay more attention on those new technology, for example, drones and AIs, and find new ways to apply them in wetland and water conservation domains, since there are potential benefits by applying those new technology on this domain.
Thanks for joining us this time on the Doherty Water for Food podcast. Make sure to visit our website, waterforfood.nebraska.edu, to view show notes or subscribe so you don't miss future episodes.